Conservatives vote to make an end to birthright citizenship an official policy, and the progressive left sides with birth tourists who scam Canadian hospitals and leave Canadians holding the tab. Despite all of the infighting and division and petty censorship, the federal Conservatives actually did something good and pretty bold at their train wreck of a weekend convention in Halifax. They passed a motion to call on the government to deal with the problem of anchor babies and birth tourism here in Canada. The motion reads, "We encourage the government to enact legislation which will fully eliminate birthright citizenship in Canada unless one of the parents of the child born in Canada is a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident of Canada." And so, of course, the progressive left in Canada lost their collective mind, or whatever is left of it. The functioning part of Justin Trudeau's brain that we all call Gerald Butts said Conservatives have committed to give the government the power to strip people born in Canada of Canadian citizenship. And then he went on to cite a well-known left-wing activist's anecdotal point about why the motion is deeply wrong and disturbing. Honestly, I hope they do start stripping away citizenships. You know what? Don't threaten me with a good time, Gerald Butts. And then the NDP leader Jagmeet saying, you know what? I almost had forgotten there was an NDP leader. But anyway, he said Conservative delegates voted in favor of ending birthright citizenship for children born in Canada unless one parent is Canadian or a permanent resident. And he said even Trump has resisted this idea. The NDP unequivocally condemns the division and hate being peddled by Andrew Scheer and the Conservative Party of Canada. Well, Jagmeet, Trump has resisted that idea because it poses a bit of a constitutional problem for him. Birthright citizenship was arguably made law in the United States by the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. Apples, oranges. And while everybody is quick to point the finger of racism at the Conservatives, let's take a look at who they're pointing that finger of racism at. The motion to end birthright citizenship was sponsored by Alice Suping Chang Wong. She's the MP for Richmond Centre, British Columbia. That's the epicenter of the birth tourism industry driven by mainland Chinese parents. And if Alice Wong doesn't sound particularly white, that's because she's not. She was born in Hong Kong. She's the apparent anti-Chinese racist Jagmeet Singh and Gerald Butts wants you all to be so scared of. And birth tourism is a very real problem, primarily in British Columbia. According to the South China Morning Post, newborns born to non-resident mothers have risen 24% in 2018 alone, and 59% since 2015 in just the Richmond Hospital in British Columbia, where non-resident births now make up 1/4 of all deliveries at the hospital. In 2015 and 2016, there were 299 newborns with non-resident mothers at the Richmond Hospital. In 2017 and 2018, there are so far 470 newborns to non-resident mothers. Newborns with Canadian-born mothers or Canadian resident mothers fell nearly 9.5% at the same hospital. And as we speak, the Vancouver Coastal Health Authority is suing a Chinese woman for non-payment of a $313,000 price tag for the 2012 delivery of her baby. And it happened at that Richmond hospital. In reality, that bill, though, is closer to $1.2 million. And if this Chinese woman never pays her bill, BC taxpayers are on the hook for all of it. According to that same South China Morning Post article, the BC Ministry of Health Audit Branch identified 26 so-called baby houses or tourism operators accommodating pregnant Chinese women intending to give birth in British Columbia so that their child can claim birthright citizenship. And because the baby is now a citizen, the child is eligible to sponsor their parents to immigrate to Canada. It's a neat little racket they have there to get around the system, to jump ahead of the queue, ahead of all the other immigrants patiently waiting their turn to get into Canada legally. And this phenomenon has exploded, especially since the Liberals have taken power. Between 2004 and 2010, there was an average of just 18 non-resident births at the Richmond Hospital each and every year. And on this, like just about every other issue, the Liberals are complete and total hypocrites. Despite their protestations and pronunciations of this new motion as racist, right now the Liberals are actively trying to strip 2 children born of a Russian spy on Canadian soil of their Canadian citizenship, despite the only exception to Canadian birthright citizenship law for babies of foreign diplomats and employees of foreign nations, spies or otherwise. If the Liberals want to take this position, then really what's the difference? According to the Liberals, it's not the child's fault how they came to be born in Canada. Spies or birth tourism? Really? Tell me how it's any different. And if the Liberals are going to call anybody racist, they should start looking at their own MP, Joe Pescasolido. As recently as June 21st, Pescasolido planned to present an e-petition to Parliament calling on his government to change the laws around birthright citizenship. Pescasolido is quoted as saying, "Birth tourism is wrong and it undermines our immigration system and our healthcare system." Pescasolido said the reason there are thousands and thousands of signatures on the e-petition is that it violates people's sense of fairness, and I agree with him. Pescasolido said that we have reached a tipping point and that nurses have told him that birth tourism is now displacing other people, residents, trying to give birth in Richmond. If Jagmeet Singh and Gerald Butts are calling Alice Su Ping Chang Wong racist, then they better be calling Pescasolido racist too. And they had also better be calling Australia, New Zealand, Britain, and even China racist too. Because to become a citizen there at birth, you also need a parent who is a national. Exactly 33 nations in the world grant citizenship to anyone born within their borders. And the only 2 countries in the developed world who still allow unrestricted birthright citizenship are Canada and the United States. We're the outliers. We're the international radicals. We're out of step with the civilized, developed world. And we shouldn't reward law-breaking or queue jumping with something as precious as our citizenship. And it is not racism. That's just good sense. For the Rebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. Big tech and Silicon Valley have a real thing for censoring us conservatives. To help us get around big tech censorship, download our Rebel Media mobile app. It's available on the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. Download it, give it a whirl, send us some feedback, and take the other side of the story with you wherever you go.